Right. Let's see where we were. So this is a descriptor set key, and I have 3 of them to be associated with the 3 uniform buffers that I have. Except that the first one is also going to be associated with a texture. Yeah, that's not the way I designed it. See description. So let's fix that. Cannot find tag pattern, why not? Here it is. Let's add a specific, so these 3 are uniform buffers on, and then this is the texture. Call the texture. Texture has a name, Voort3. Let's call it Voort3. So now the first one and the last one should be forced to be in the same descriptor set. And the second and the third must be forced to be in their own descriptor set. Why? Because that's what I'm testing. Test application. Now with forced means that I'm very sure, and that means that my preference is 1.0. So like I really mean it. So let's make another one for the Voort3. And then here this says I want this uniform buffer to be part of the top descriptor set, and this one must be part of left, and this one must be part of bottom, and this one must not be part of top, and this one must not be part of top of or left. I can of course also add that list here, but this should be enough. And then I'm adding the texture to top. Okay, well, let's see. It is indeed a bit nonsensical, but we're basically testing the code that is doing this. So basically I'm saying this must be part of Voort3, and it must be part of top. So yeah, and that then implies that those two must be the same. They cannot be different, because it can only be part of one descriptor set, and it has to be part of both. So and then we do this because I did not implement uniform buffers yet, but I want them to have binding 0. So I'm reserving a binding on each of the descriptor sets. Yeah, looks good. But now to implement that this is working. I think that it is. It makes more sense maybe to move the key from the very start into these objects, which means that this list can be removed. The first argument anyway, so this whole list, and then the first argument of this one. Sorry, that is the whole list here too, and then the first argument of this list. Them being implied because they are the key of the set of resources that I'm adding. And then I can remove them from from here. I think I'm going to do that, although I'm not sure, so just leave it like that, but I'm commenting it out. This is slightly annoying, I have to admit. I'm having 3 different uniform buffers. One for each frame. For each frame resource. Well, no, not 3 like that. It's the vector here, so I don't know how many. The number of frame resources. Suppose I should only use 1 key for them, which means that I need yet another class which then wraps that 1 key plus a vector of a uniform buffer. It's then more an abstract uniform buffer. I really removed the creak in my chair. Nice. Yeah, how shall I do this? I can I think I'll just make a new class. So this uniform buffer lives in namespace memory, so let's just add a uniform buffer in namespace descriptor, I guess, because it's pretty clear that that is then multiple uniform buffers, but with one descriptor key. I think it belongs in the namespace descriptor. So these lines then become something like the vulkan descriptor, uniform buffer, and top buffer. What to do? Now I have a headphone on, anti-noise. To shut out all the external noises, and I still hear them through my microphone because I'm listening to my own voice. Checking. Okay, what is this? Class uniform buffer. One of these days I have to change this into angle brackets. It's a habit that I use double quotes, but it's incorrect. Double quotes just mean that it tries to read it from the current directory. And memory is not in this directory, so it shouldn't use double quotes, I think. I think I started the habit because I liked to see the difference between my own headers and headers from third-party libraries, which I then would use angle brackets for. but that probably is better achieved with an empty line in between or something. Separate them in blocks. Frame resource index should already be known when the vector is included, but maybe not when the uniform buffer is included. Probably not. Almost certainly not. Let's just include this. It has its own header file. Well, then certainly. Yeah, and then the utils vector. And then the key. Let's put the key first. Don't ask me why. This is then just a descriptor set key. And which must be initialized from a context. We don't have the context anymore, but now I can add a constructor which then has that context. What? I don't know anymore the time. Key context, I could have known. Reference. So that determines the uniqueness. It's unique within this context. I was thinking before actually that I'm now passing a context that is in a member of the window, but does it make even sense? Probably, or maybe I should just make it unique for the whole application. In other words, I just could add a static here and use that as the context. If I have two different window objects drawing the same things, it's difficult. just doesn't feel like it is specific for a window. If it is, then it would only be because then windows do not want to have anything to do with each other in terms of the graphics. So they would use their own pipelines and their own descriptor sets, etc. So then, might as well separate the uniqueness of these things as well. But it seems a bit exaggerated to demand that I create and pass a key context. Well, it should work as good if I make it a static. No, I cannot make it a static. That would be a uniform buffer static then. Can we just make it a global variable, I guess? I really hate global variables. Or I can put it in the application, and then the application is a singleton, so I can access it from there. But that also is super global. Global variables are yeah, prefer not to use them. Now I would not really use it if I use the singleton accessor of the application. Let's for now just pass the key context. And then maybe add the tricks later, I guess. Or not to complicate stuff with possible bugs because of global variables. Which means that this then is the constructor of this thing. And I'm going to need an accessor for the key. There's nothing I can do about that. And that must be a const reference. This is rather nasty, I have to say. I don't think this thing doesn't even have a copy constructor. And should make sure that it does not have a copy constructor, I think. It has a unique ID. It might have a copy constructor. Simply the default copy constructor. Let's try that. So I'm having here, well, if it is possible, it's just an integer. So just return by value then. Accessor is called key. What else? And then we return set key. Key is too short. Let's make it a descriptor set key. Plus I need an accessor for this. Let's do that as a both, I guess, a reference and a const reference. I'm just going to add an operator on that, which takes frame resource index. Why does the thing not have a name? Right. Something like that. You can also get rid of these three here eventually. Not yet, but eventually. And this must then be moved below here. No, not really. Let's leave it where it is. But these are going to be replaced with what I just added. So that's a vulkan descriptor. Descriptor uniform buffer. What? Already have it here. No, don't tell me. I just added it, I think. Yeah, I just added it. Okay, I'm just going to delete this. And delete this. And then I'm going to put this top here because, well, it's going to need to be passed to the constructor of these things. And if you ask me, I can just do this like that. Something must be wrong because I also have to pass the size of the vector, I think. Let's see, top buffer, place back. Okay, so here's the size determined. Just calling number of frame resources times in place back. Now instead of begin, we just use index 0, because it is a hack, but something like this. And it is a hack because this must be a frame resource index. Let's add a special thing for that. Resource index const. It is a hack. Hack 0 is 0. Oops. That looks weird. Oh, it's top position array. Still looks weird, but it's correct. What a hackage stuff. Okay, anyway, the plan was to not pause this. But I have to pause something. Okay, this is the thing not correct. Right, so this was completely wrong to begin with. I'm passing preferences here. See if that's correct. So this one is just itself, and this is also itself, but it must not be equal to the top, and the bottom must not be equal to top nor left, and this must be equal to top. So I don't need bottom nor void. Okay. I added so much, it's unbelievable. Div. So we added in namespace descriptor a uniform buffer, which is now which wraps the descriptor key and a vector of uniform buffers for one for each frame resource. And I added class descriptor KeyPreference, which wraps a key. That also nonsense is. Do I need to include vulkan here? Yes, so this is wrong, but it should already be. KeyPreference should already include key, shouldn't it? Shut up. What, where, how? It's not the file I was looking at. Well, it should be. I'm blind. There it is. So the uniform buffer should already include key, I think. Doesn't. And this is memory. Maybe I should have to run things first, like configure and make C tags. Yep. And see the same thing as using key. No, I did not have to sneeze. I thought a sneeze was coming. Class uniform buffer, yeah. Make div. So instead of declaring the vector now, which obviously should be hidden from the user. Anyway, I'm declaring these things. Descriptor uniform buffer. I guess one could get confused and use a different uniform buffer when they are called like that. I think I should make it so that the user is no longer even allowed to create a other uniform buffer, only this one. In other words, who's using it? Only this class. So I can add a badge here, I guess, the eye. No, that's not working. No, it's the in-place back. Where was the in-place back happening? Yes, I don't know what it was. In-place back. I thought it started with a logical device. That is the user. So and then we should make this also something else. Yeah. There should be something like top buffer create, I guess. And then just pass all the things. Like that. Which I don't have to do 3 times for create. Right. Now, even more interesting, I'll probably get into trouble later. Right here. I can change that later. Let's first implement these create things. Create then takes the same arguments as the constructor of the type that is element of the vector inside descriptor uniform buffer. Uniform buffer has a vector which has an element which is also called uniform buffer. That would be this one, which has a constructor, and then this one has a create with the same arguments. Which then must be implemented. Right, all right. This is a member function of uniform buffer. Okay, let's put a marker here, I think. Marker A. Can we jump back here? Copy this. Not copy this, copy this. Where do I get my max number of frame resources from though? Oh shit, that is part of window. It's totally window specific this. Okay, and then I'm just going to pass the window instead of the logical device. forgot to add a marker at the other spot, but it was here. Okay, let's move this, I guess. So we have, I must implement this thing in uniform buffer, create. And that is then the vector again. So hi. Uniform buffers in place back. Non-logical device. This is then the size, I guess. I am already doing that. Let's see. To this. Yeah, size is being passed like that. I need that one as well. So this string must be appended to the prefix of the mbfix. Not even sure how that works. mbfix takes a prefix as a temporary prefix. Yep. No, that just changes the prefix. I want this one. Append prefix. That's a plus. So I need mbfix plus. Okay. Okay, I think that works. I do not have a declaration for this thing yet. Create. Oh, I do. But I change this. Maybe you should call it owning window, because the uniform buffer itself is usually a member of this window also, of the window class. It's being passed as a this, and usually call it owning window. Synchronous window is well, in namespace vulkan. Synchronous window h. That's nonsense. Can just put it here. As a for declaration, because I don't need it, I just need a pointer to it here. However, in the CXX file, aka the CPP file, I need to include it. Synchronous window, not H. Something is wrong. Yeah, it's not a namespace vulkan. The thing is a namespace task. Is it? I think it is. Yep, task. Okay, so where are we now? So now I'm calling mTopBuffer create with the window pointer, and then the size, and then the debug name. When that is then filling the vector like this. So this code is really copied already. I'm starting to lose what I'm doing. I mean, or maybe I can still pick it up by looking at the git diff till that gets too large. So I wrap my vector inside a different class, a new class. Along with the descriptor key. So I also have a new key context which must be passed to the constructor of these things. And now we no longer have a vector exposed here. Therefore, instead of running over all frame resources and putting one by one elements into these vectors, I'm just calling create on them with enough information to do the loop inside the create function. Filling the vector. And I also changed this hackery with another hackery. So I just have a const frame resource index here that is 0. And then we only use the first frame resource everywhere, because I didn't implement having multiple frame resources yet. Same thing. Here I made two key preferences, both with 100% certainty. And they just refer to one descriptor. Well, they always refer to one descriptor. And this one is wrong. It should be m left. Let's edit that here. Okay, so now it's left. And then I'm saying add a uniform buffer, which I have to write yet. This function does not exist yet. Add a uniform buffer and then I just pass the first element of that vector. That is kind of silly. Of course, I should just be should be possible to just pass mtop buffer. I don't want to pass just a memory uniform buffer. I want to pass the whole thing. So that should also be changed. We're now passing top buffer. So the type of these things is descriptor double colon uniform buffer, and this says add uniform buffer. So it seems to be making sense, even though under the hood there are multiple uniform buffers, one for each frame resource. And then this one says add it in a way such that its descriptor set is unequal the descriptor set in this list. And then the 1.0 here forces that. So it's definitely not going to be equal to that one. So if this one gets set 1, then this one cannot, get set 0, then this one cannot be set 0. Because it must be different. And then this one cannot be equal to 0 or 1. So it must be something else, like 2. And we also add a texture, and it says it must be equal to that one. So this one was 0, then this shader resource is going to be put in the same descriptor set as this uniform buffer, namely probably 0. Then each of these are different. 0, 1 and 2, and I reserve a binding for the uniform buffer here because this is not doing anything yet. In the end, this is going to assign everything, and I do not need to reserve a binding then, of course. So this is also kind of a hack because I am not going to fully implement add uniform buffer yet. Let's go back to the div. So we looked at that. Well, that's all. Yeah, here I just switch from begin to square brackets hack. I think that can be left alone. And here I'm having yeah, identify didn't even exist, so let's call it a typo or a brain fart. Well, if that's all, then the only thing I have to do is implement all the non-existing functions. Most notably, add uniform buffer and the change of arguments. Let's first do the change of arguments of add texture. So let's not call this yet. Let's start compiling. how can I make this abort shortly after the first error? Because I often have to scroll up a lot, not in this case, but pretty often. Let's fix it right now. I think I can just look for this string here and then stop at this string. Then I have everything. There might be something in front of it, however. So let's show everything, including this line. But the first thing that I have to look for is error, probably. So digits, something like this. Which, okay, what did this one make? Which make? Yeah, that runs this one. No, does it? Does. CMake configure options are empty, but I'm using CMake. No, I'm not empty. Then I run CMake. Oh, CMake build. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're not empty, right? So it's going to run this. Yeah, I'll already do some filtering here, I see. It's using a filter with AWK. Which is not working. I think it's not working because I'm pretty sure I see more of those operators. Normally if you get an operator less than error, then you get a billion of them. Penalty, this attempts to cut that off. Yeah, it's not that easy. I thought it was, I have a compiler somewhere. Maybe, why not? Is this thing just calling a normal compiler? I'm afraid it is. It's not calling a script of me. Yeah, you see me run make, but what I really do run is this. So it's a fake make. Sorry for that. This is the real command, but I cannot remember that, so I just make aliases and stuff like that, shell functions, such that I can just type configure and make, and that's the only thing I type. But what it is executing under the hood is, yeah, difficult at times. Also, if you see me run make ctags, and in fact it is running this, it goes to a different directory and then runs ctags or blah 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 blah. This is running the subshell. Yes. Not even quite getting these redirections here. I guess it's it's filtering the standard error. Maybe it's redirecting standard error to standard out and then filtering it and then something doing it, writing it to standard error again. So I might as well add the filter here before we do that. I'm going to add a filter here. Let's first test if that works. Resource. And in case you wonder, that's doing this. Where all these shit things are also bash functions. I have a whole system, so if someone says why you're not using an IDE, well, in a sense I am, but I'm using bash functions. Okay, so I did a resource and now I want to run make again. Yep, now it's only printing the error, so that is the right place to do this. Now we have to fix it. And I was going to filter on some digits. Well, this should say 0 to 9. We definitely have them. And then I want to it's not that easy to filter on the last line that matches something. Maybe shouldn't make it too difficult. Just show the lines before that, 10 lines before the error. It's enough for the context. I probably should use AWK again if you want it perfect. Okay, and then after we can print 1,000 lines. That's a bit too much. 100 should be enough, I hope. Okay, let's make it 200. And I do another grab with a before 200, which filters on that other thing, which I forgot. I've got it. So yeah. Too many errors. And one line after that, right? No more scrolling up, I hope. Now, doesn't that look beautiful? Use of undeclared identifier descriptor. Blah 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 blah. Too many errors emitted. 3 errors generated. And if I use AWK, then maybe I can even get rid of. Well, maybe I even want to see this, so I know which file it was compiling. I think this is pretty good. Could even filter out this line. It's going to be the same every time. This is kind of strange. That it shows this means just that it's not filtered. So I think that this is the actual output. But I expected to see 10 lines in front of it. It's still showing it. What? What? Resource. Got to do that, I think. Yeah, now it's gone. Yeah, and then I can show warnings as well, I guess. I think I should show warnings as well while I am at it. Yeah, it's a 0 grep error. Error or warning. And then that must be grep. Egrep. Right, and what else? I wanted to give error a color. What do you think? I'm getting overboard maybe. Let's fix this compile error. Use of undeclared identifier descriptor. Did you mean vulkan descriptor? Use of undeclared identifier m stop and top descriptor set key. Right, that's no longer existence. Instead, I have just the descriptor key of the top uniform buffer. Or what was it called? Not that buffer. Apparently. Well, same thing here, of course. Descriptor set keys. That is must be buffer dot descriptor set key. Okay, that's all. Use of non-static data member top buffer of window from nested. Damn it. Too many arguments to function call. Expected single argument texture have 2 arguments. Okay, so the interface of this member function changed. I'm now expecting a vector of these things. Pretty much temporary, the way I'm passing it. But I might as well use a const reference. I don't see any reason to keep it. Not keeping it. So, yeah. Or making copies of it, rather. And this is inside Vulkan pipeline, so I don't need to repeat this namespace here. And this function takes 2 lists. One being, of the first one being, yeah, I need a name again. It's not really equivalent, it's more like It's simply preferred descriptor sets. It is with 2 R's. Yeah, and then I have a second one. Which is then the opposite of preferred. Definitely need a thesaurus now. Antonym. Rejected, undesirable. Right. That means that we must be able to print, because I added it here. I can print a vector if I can print the element, so I must be able to print a key preference, which I do already explained that once. Nobody saw that. That's watching now, I suppose, but I have a magic that makes it work if I add a print on. Streamer reference or is const, which is unfortunately debug code. I have to add some ugly if-def around it. And then you have to implement that, which gives us a new file again. YY F7 capital P YY P and insert space close // that was a few other keys. Okay, implement this thing. KeyPreference not there. This is a .cxx file, also another thing that I have. What is the word for that? Every .cxx file must start with include system.h. Of course, we also include the header that belongs to this class. And then I'm going to need debug.h, if only to get my stream, whatever. Yeah, it's not really true. I don't need debug.h. Oh, I do. Debug.h makes print on work. So I do. I could include less than that, but well, who cares? Okay, so implement this thing then. Print on means I rewrite opening and a closing brace. And then I'm writing the whole thing out, which is a key and a float. what is it called? KeyPreference. What else? Oh, whoops, the wrong key. Ding. And preference. And then in order to print the key, because I'm just printing it here, but yeah, that's not going to work that easy. I must also be able to print keys. So I'm going to jump to key and repeat the same thing. If def c w debug and if void print on standard O string reference os const EYY F7 print include sys.h include key.h namespace descriptor, not really, vulkan descriptor. Closing brace here. Okay, but ls and then whatever is in key. I might as well do that here with F7. Oops, not in like that. That thing does contains an MID, so we could print that, I guess. Again, the wrong key. MID. Which means that we must be able to print MID, which is a unique ID, but that should already be supported. And it isn't. Not sure I want to support it. We have a get ID. No, that gets that increments it. I have an operator T, so that it is supported. If I'll try to print this, it will simply convert it to T, which is a size type. Well, at the most, maybe I want to well, it says M key double point double M key colon and then just double point. How horrible. Okay, this is yeah, this is working. So it will print some digits behind this, and then I'll know that it is a key because it says so. Going to write everything and try a new compile again, I guess. We made enough changes. The music is suffering under the compile. Well, it compiles. Oh, disappointing. No, it didn't. Oh, it's not printing this anymore? No. What happened? Damn it. I get to see 74% and then that's it. Let me scroll up. Maybe those are 200 lines. No. There is no error or warning in it. $363 lines. Did it compile it or didn't it? It didn't. So there was an error and I didn't get to see it. Wow. Well, that's interesting. I'm just going to print it like this. Just want to see my error. Error has a color. Why does this error has a color and the other errors don't? That's really weird, man. Well, I'm not against colors, but if I write to the file, I bet that the colors disappearing. This is super annoying. Also disappears. Who is printing that color? I think the compiler is. The compiler itself. Why is it printing a color when I'm filtering it through scripts? Normally, but I'm not now. Now I'm writing to a TTY. Okay, so let's change that then. If I'm running this inside a script, you get something like cat. To say. That was stupid. Stupid as always. Let's write to 1. That is just it. I don't think it has a color here anymore. No color. So why don't I see it? Oh, what? Yeah, I think we're not seeing it because there is no limit here. It doesn't stop on a limit. So maybe it just simply should stop on this one here as well. Some integer errors generated. Which is always printed, I think. So instead of doing this, I just stop on errors generated. Hello, Mr. I only see boxes with crosses in it. I don't think I can print your characters. No member named KeyPreference. That was the error. So now it works. KeyPreference in descriptor. Okay, so we're just missing the header here. And now we have another problem. Don't tell me. Yep, again, no output. I'm trying to fix it. I don't have to scroll up every time. Yeah. Now we don't get to see the errors at all. Which is also not the idea. So let's do this again. I was doing it like this. And then I'm going to have to replace this. Do I have a cut function here? I have a copy and a paste, but no cut. Totally not working. And I wrote it to troop. One error generated. I guess the S is missing. You think question mark works, or doesn't that work? Doesn't seem to work. It works with the egrep. Okay, well, no scrolling is needed, at least. Out of line definition, add texture does not match. Ah, right, I've got to change that. 3YY, F7, add texture. Change, delete this one, add a semicolon. And remove the extra qualification here. That's still a lot. I still have to do scrolling. What is going on? What is going on? It's not working. It should have stopped on this line, but it didn't. 2 errors generated. Still not bloody working. I'm not sure that this question mark is working. Well, it should be. Just tested it, but it is not stopping. 2 errors. Question mark is 0 or 1 time, right? Doing any number of S's. It's not going to match that anyway. Or I forgot to do a resource maybe. No, I didn't. And it's doing it again. Yeah, I'll just have to get this fixed, otherwise I keep scrolling up like 50 times every day, which is makes a bad stream. It's annoying to watch. So I wanted to print this and then stop at the 2 errors generated. For some reason it's not stopping. I don't get this. Well, I'm not getting it. Oh, right, I'm getting it. This does a grep for the last line that matches, and then 200 before that. If there is multiple lines, it just keeps going. I'm not sure if grep is able to just stop at the first line that matches. Let's read the grep manual. So this is what I want, but this minus L just prints the files. Klop. Nope. I must say I never saw it before, but well, you never know. Okay, we're gonna do more scrolling anyway. Grab colors. Binary, null, deref, recursive, include, exclude, the action. Binary files, group separator, line control, context. No matches, only matching, print only the matched, non-empty parts of matching lines. Nope, file with matches. Count, line expression, invert match, no case, fixed strings. Nope. Okay, so time for a Google. Bash maybe. Print up till first match. So all the file up to the match. I have to print only a first match from each line. I have to print only the first match with the grep. It might give an answer anyway, but to show only the first match with grep, use minus M1. Didn't see that. Well, it should have been the accepted answer, I guess. Stop reading the file after non-matching lines. I totally missed it. I'm gonna go back to the egrep. Minus M1. Question mark. Awesome, that works. Totally. Oh, I'm not a member of this. Well, then forget it. 48 is enough. KeyPreference. No member named KeyPreference and namespace vulkan descriptor. Can I do this with a forward declare? I think I can. Let's just add a forward declare here. Okay, this is also annoying. If I add a new line, like here, no, like so, it repeats whatever the comment is. Normally I don't want it. Okay, get used to putting it my cursor here and then press Shift O, I guess, but it's still annoying. Or here I can just print O. Namespace, vulkan. Really, I forgot it again. It's not just the descriptor. Preference. Did I write that correct? Preference. Yep. Do 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 do. Too few arguments to function call. Expected 3, have 2. Alright, because I wanted to make them have a default. So add texture. Which is defined here, declared here, should have defaults, and a default is just an empty vector. I think that should work, and even this one. Oh, that's an interesting one. Static assert in type traits. Still have to scroll up. 3 errors generated. Okay, let's look at this one. Error: arithmetic on pointer to an incomplete type. Oh, the key preference is incomplete. In instantiation, in default constructor for declaration. So I was wrong. Oh, of course, yeah. Now I'm added the default function parameter here. It has to construct a vector with no elements, but that requires the default constructor to exist anyway. So if I do it like this, then I have to include the header in the header, and it does not work anymore to and only 4 declared. And that means, of course, that I can remove it here because it's already included. This one, right? No viable conversion from vulkan descriptor key to descriptor set index. Right, reserve binding is taking a set index. But. Yeah, I'll just have to make it accept the key, I guess. Descriptor key instead of a set index. And you're talking about reserve binding. Well, I'm just gonna grab for that. Let's accept a key instead. How did I call those things? Descriptor set key? Or I don't think so. Descriptor set key. Yeah, I call those things set index, right? So why not set key? Descriptor set key. I think that's actually better. Surprising. Reserve binding. So I'm gonna make this a key. Can also call them set key then. That means that I have to look up the index. Ouch. Don't know how to do that yet. Didn't even store that yet. I think storing it is first storing it and then looking it up is easier. But I just not compile this at all. Assert false. Fix me. Need to convert the set key to set index. Get status. Move key to set key. Move key to set key. And all the others as well, right? Just all of them. That's pure horror, but once you start, you cannot stop. Oh no. That's not part of the music. It's really outside here, that sound. Uniform buffer. Jesus Christ. Key set. I really don't know what's happening. Got that one. The last one, I hope. Well, all the other headers as well. Yeah. Okay, that looks good then, I suppose, but let's also rename all the variables. How the hell did this happen? Probably could just do a file wide find or replace. Probably should, certainly in files like this. Just not sure if I'm not using keys elsewhere already. The word key. So this way you can check them one by one. But yeah, in a file like this, it's definitely kind of silly, I guess. Plus I already have a lot that have set in front of them now. So now it's a bit too late to do that. I could still do it. Could replace anything but an underscore key, etc. But you're already there. And two, what is next? Shadow resource set key to index, to set index. No, I guess. Why? I guess. Yes, with key push constant prefix. No viable conversion from the descriptor set index to descriptor set key. No type named set key in namespace vulkan descriptor. I also need that too. Undeclared identifier. Oh, is that possible? Tor I'm Gil. Doesn't even know where this brace belongs to, seriously. Oh, I must have done something horribly wrong. Or it's just a problem of the editor, of course. Jumps over here. That doesn't make sense. No. Yeah. Yeah. This is just IMQ stuff. It compiles. Okay, so now I have to add uniform buffer, which pretty much looks like add texture, except that it takes a uniform buffer as first argument. Then we go through all the music. Audio device got stuck. What kind of nonsense is that? What do I do with disconnect? That didn't do anything. Yeah, well, I can kill it, but then it doesn't know where it was. How do we unstuck this thing? And why is it stuck in the first place? Clearly, audio still works. I would like to simply disconnect this. Cannot do that. Maybe I cannot do that because it's being used. Disconnect, doesn't do anything. Nope. Well, we have one much more powerful button. Patch bay, disconnect all and then activate it again, or what about just reactivation? Also doesn't help. I don't think disconnect is gonna be helping. Let's look at well, this is a graph, I think. That's what I meant. But even now it says the audio device got stuck. It's really weird. I have to kill this thing here. Kill the client. Why can I not kill this jack client? Stupid. Okay, I'll just start over. Bloop. And now it's gone. And it's back. And right. Strange things happen. Boom, 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 boom. I have no idea what is happening here. I want to copy 3 lines. Paste them there. Rename this to add a uniform buffer. And then this is a uniform buffer. while I'm at it, okay. It's kind of strange. So texture is a vulkan texture, and the uniform buffer is in descriptor. Really, it is a shader resource. Maybe I should make a new namespace. Yeah, I probably should. One new namespace coming up called shader resource. A namespace with an underscore in it. How acceptable is that? I don't think I have that yet. Don't have that here. Yeah, whatever. Nothing. Well, I have lots of those. Okay, in that case. Oh wait. I do have a VK defaults and IO manip, but it's just 2 and the VK underscore is in the thing. Oh, here's a real big one. Yeah, I have IMU namespace, menu keys. Okay, so apparently sometimes I do that. This looks really weird, so let's make it a shader resource. The pain of making a new namespace. Now I could start looking for all the textures, of course. Where do all the textures happen? But what about... Okay, maybe I should. Texture. That's the only one. The only places. Nah, seriously. Grab all places where you see texture. Not even that long. Can I add a -L here? I don't think so. Nope. Well, in that case, that's a shitload. Why not implement? Well, make it to grep minus h l minus l. I mean, for a texture in all the print project sources. It's PRS, I think. Okay. Oh yeah. 3-1, sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm sure did it, no, whatever. Next. This is I'm Gune, so that must be then shader resource slash texture. Shader resource texture. Next. Struct texture, so this is now vulkan shader resource. And this is in vulkan, so that becomes shader resource. I think we're around. Okay, next. Change the resource. Change the resource. Something else I have to fix. I play this song first and then from the list, so it plays it twice. Shall I fix it right now? And then we have to start over at the beginning again. No. I could make it random. Randomize it. That would be interesting. Maybe not that's such a bad idea. Texture. Must be around next. But there was no next, right? Okay, so I'm done. I don't know what else. I do. Definitely do. Make directory shader resource. I have a texture right here. Git move texture to shader resource texture. Getting closer. Yeah, I don't know about this. Render graph is questionably 2 words as well. And then shader builder and shader resource, that really looks inconsistent like hell. Okay, so I cannot do an ls anymore in this directory. No. Just kidding. Invalid operands to binary expressions, standard ostream and char. I'm happy that I made this change, that it's only printing the first error. No more scrolling up to the error. No type name uniform buffer in namespace vulkan shader resource. That is utterly correct. I'm going to have to add that. Class uniform buffer, yeah. It needs all kinds of stuff, but what? Out of line definition of add uniform buffer does not match any declaration. No type named. No, this one. No type named, of course. Oh. Uniform buffer, missing header. Yeah, I can do this one with a for declaration. Likewise the texture, I think. So we have a texture which I'm including, but that's kind of silly. So instead let's add 4 declarations here. Yeah, maybe it starts to be a little bit silly to repeat vulkan all the time. So let's not do that. invalid operands to binary expression, we cannot print uniform buffer. That's correct. You cannot print uniform buffers because I just added it without the print on. Probably, maybe. The uniform buffer thing. Doesn't look like the right one. That was in descriptor. Do I still have one in descriptor then? What? How many uniform buffers do I have? This one is in memory, that's correct. And this one is in shared resource, which I expected. Now what's the one doing in descriptor? Descriptor. That is a thing that represents the descriptor of uniform buffer. Maybe we should add that because I got confused. Yeah, that says descriptor and then not set. But and this is then the shader resource. So we can go to that. And this needs a print on. Which means I need a public somewhere, and then if def cw debug and if void print on standard ostream reference os const reference. Cannot make anything else of it. Going to need some kind of a header. I'm not sure how I did that. Not. Hello, Federico. What do you think? Shall I just include iOS forward here? Because I don't know what else to include. and then implement it. And now I'm just going to include debug image and there file the thing. What to do, write an opening brace and a closing brace, and then write every member, I guess. We don't have any member yet. Yeah, not this, come on. No members. Yeah, it would be good for Carlo if he went outside for a walk. Not to mention that in 11 minutes it is lunchtime for him. Why am I talking in the third person about myself? Well, someone has to do it. Because if I leave it up to Carlo, he's just going to sit there all day without eating and moving. It's not a good thing. Bad boy. There are no viable conversion for vulkan descriptor uniform buffer to incomplete type shader resource uniform buffer. Oh really? This sample texture here is also now a texture inside shader resource. That worked. So add texture has as first argument a shader resource texture cons reference. And add uniform buffer has shader resource uniform buffer cons reference. That should be good. It should be good. So top buffer should be a shader resource. Oh really? But it is a descriptor. What? What? Oh, I'm getting it. Yeah. The descriptor uniform buffer is a thing that just represents the contains the key, the descriptor key. So it contains this key. But it also contains uniform buffers. So this is not correct. In other words, this thing must be moved, I think. Yeah, the thing must be moved. This should not have been in descriptor. This is the one that should be in shader resource. Note how it has a create. Oh no, that's nonsense. note how it has a descriptor set key. And if we look at, say, sample texture, which is a shader resource texture, it's not having a key, but it should have. I think it should have. Yeah, I just didn't add that yet. I'm like 80% sure that I made a mistake here, and I should move that to. I was already confused before, right? And then I made a mistake, and I thought I would solve my confusion with comment, but the comment is wrong, so the confusion is still there, and I can fix it by. Okay, so I'm having shader resource. We have a shader resource uniform buffer, which is practically not implemented at all. And I have the same uniform buffer in descriptor. Yep. Which, by the way, also doesn't have a print on. And it must have a lot in common with the texture, which is not there. Well, thank God. What is here? Resource. No. Shader resource. I must say I'm not seeing any similarity at all. But on the other hand, I haven't implemented the uniform buffers at all either. So all this stuff, so stuff like this, I have to add it to the other one, to the shader resource uniform buffer. Still, yeah, that's it. That's why they don't look alike. So I'm going to move, let's use a get move from descriptor texture.h. Oops. Yeah, that might be problematic. Let me first delete the other one. So this remove uniform buffer.h, and then get move descriptor uniform buffer.h to file that I just removed. No, it's not on the version control. Oh, and then just move it normally. And then I also have a CXX file, possibly. Let's just move CXX as well. And then I lose my print on, but I'll just have to type it again, I think. So let's add a print on now to this thing. If def cw debug void print on or standard for streamer reference or as const, and if uniform buffer which has elements, so you can just print those, I guess. It's element, print those two elements that it has. I probably need, no, it's gonna work like that. Most other classes can print to OStreams, so as soon as I include any class, I already have an OStream for declared. I should have. So these are the two members, and I'm going to print them like this. And the other one's that. The power of using OStreams, you can just print anything. As long as you keep adding all the stuff that does the work of printing them. Set key.h file not found. That's because I just moved this to shader resource, and set key is defined in this descriptor, which then also means that descriptor, the namespace, must be added. Invalid operands to binary expression, OStream, and uniform buffer. Okay, I'm gonna leave this to the user, to the viewers. How many viewers do we have? Okay, I'll do it myself. Hardly util, right? Debug. vi debug / vulkan print on.h. Namespace shader resource. See, that was easy. Anyone could have done it. Except that it still doesn't work. Okay, that's annoying. Super annoying. What is happening here? What is happening here? Invalid operands of binary expression, basic O stream, and uniform buffer. That's the same bloody error. Why? What the hell? One error generated. Didn't even see the one that I was looking for. So that would mean that the header was missing, right? I think we need a header. So which header? Probably a header that contains print on more. So let's try with S, which doesn't print to something useful, but it does like this. Grep print on. Has print on and vulkan. This is what I need, I think. Debug vulkan print on. But I think that should already have been included. I mean, who is including this? Oh, that's often included, so maybe you do need it. I thought it was included by debug.h, but apparently not. Didn't help. Wow. Now I am shocked. Pom, 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 pom. What the hell is going on here? At the very least, it would be nice if now it said incomplete type. Well, that's a hint. It's definitely a hint. Series of uniform buffer is incomplete. Which is not possible, you would say, because I'm including it here. That is not possible. I didn't fix the namespace. Okay. Oh, now that again. It doesn't print error. Don't even know if this is the one. Optional colon. Looks like a digit, colon, space, error or warning should match it. Digit. It's a horrible digit, but it's still a digit. But the end is no longer there. I should match end of file, I think. How do you match end of file with egrep, with grep? This is Java. It's a regular expression, but \z should be the thing, I guess. Let's see if \z works with grep. I'm gonna do echo, do I eat? Blep, hello, \n world, \n full, grep. Nothing, \z, oops. Nope. No end of file. How annoying. Okay, I'll give up. I'm just going to match it one by one. So that is one of the things that I want to know. Really. And I should also fix this then. It's a bit strange to match a digit here. Try it without a digit. No such input file, okay. Our use of undeclared identifier uniform buffer. Invalid operands to really binary expression O stream and uniform buffer still. So while printing a vector, it failed to print a uniform buffer. Apparently I'm printing a vector of uniform buffers. In instantiation, well, that's plural, so yes. Because that's a utils vector. Yes. And at that point it cannot print uniform buffer, which does have a print all. So then I suppose I'm still missing Just going to add this. Maybe I'm being silly now, but I don't think I need OStream operators. Debug OStream operators? Do I need those? No, that's way too heavy. Besides, I only need that in the CXX element. Development print on is... That's one, no. Cannot get past this point, it seems. Yeah, let's eat and stuff. I mean, I can continue for 1 hour and 2 hours and then shift my lunch again, but I'm just taking a break now and then get back to this later.